Welcome back to the Mining Your Business podcast, a show all about process mining, data science, and advanced business analytics. I am, of course, Patrick. With me, as always, my colleague Jakub. Hi there.
Hey, Patrick.
Today's episode is all about measuring KPIs the old way, embracing the future, and user adoption of a new BI tool. Joining us today is Hélder Guiraudeli from Norsk Hydro. All that coming up next.
Welcome to the newest episode of Mining Your Business podcast. Today, we are extremely happy that you found the time to listen to yet another episode. And I'm very excited to welcome here with us Hélder Guiraudeli from Norsk Hydro Corporation. Hélder, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Jakub. Thank you, Patrick.
We are very excited to have you. We actually know each other, Hélder. We worked together on a project where we were implementing Celonis in your company, Norsk. And you were for us the business lead from a finance process, from accounts payable. And so we know each other relatively well, but our listeners probably don't. And because of that, I would probably ask you if you could tell us something about yourself. So how did you end up here in our podcast doing a process mining episode with us?
Yes. So I'm Hélder Guiraudeli from Brazil. I live in Norway for 2 years now and working in Hydro, as you said. And yes, so my whole career in finance was previously in Brazil. And I accept this challenge to move to Norway, which is really a big challenge regarding the environment, weather, etc. But I worked in Hydro before in Brazil, so I just stay in the same company. So it makes a little bit easier to move in here. And yes, so I'm in a department in our global GBS, a global business process, and now working more with digital and analytics tools to improve and to implement new solutions for our business and for the plants, but also internally in GBS. Mm-hmm. So this is why we decided to go with Celonis. And yes.
Can I ask, so before we get into the process managing, what was your history, or what field did you come from before you started the process managing?
Yes, we have used some different tools, or because you need the information in a way, right? So, but it was never easy to go through informations that we need. So people in management people, or in business, they always need to know better how the process is, and it is never easy to feed them with those kinds of information. Sometimes you can provide some with really tough work, hard work to get, and sometimes you just cannot do it. Mm-hmm. So I feel much comfortable now with the tool, with Celonis, to get some insights and information in a better quality, mm-hmm. and better time as well.
I have a question here. So Hélder, you I know that since you have a long history in this environment and in this kind of branch of process managing and administration, I'm very interested, before we start talking about Celonis and about how well it went rolling it out in your company. I'm actually interested, how did you get to manage the processes before the BI tools such as Celonis or maybe other competition? How did you do it before? How did you get the perspective on the process?
Yeah, You know what? I'm in this kind of process for more than 20 years now, and it has been a journey. Many years ago, you had a lot of manual manual activities, and you didn't have any clue about how it was done. And then the systems and the process start to improve. So you move from really a manual way to work to more automated, not fully automated, but at least using systems, using some applications, ERPs. But the information or how to get reports, how to get some good feedbacks from the systems didn't follow the same speed. So we implement a tool, we implement a new ERP system, for instance, and then you see that, okay, I don't have the full picture about what we are doing here. So normally when, like 15 years ago, when we start to work with SAP, for instance, okay, it's good. We can do a lot of things better, but we didn't have a good overview about the process. And then we since we are doing hopefully better some activities, would like to measure how it is compared with the previous way to do that. And it was not easy, and we could not simply do that. And during those years, those are questions that we always have. How we are doing that, how we can improve it. And and normally we struggle to answer those questions or give people better information. I used to be a finance manager in some plants in Brazil, and I had a lot of people working in accounts payables, accounts receivables, inventory, and sometimes I am a manager struggling to understand, okay, why we spend too much time in that activity or in that process. So normally we do the final figures, right? So, but you were not able to go deep and see what is happening behind.
Right.
And so normally in the past so sorry, go ahead.
I apologize. So what you're saying is when you implement these processes and you don't have a very good overview, my question would be, how do you then control the quality of your processes? Or is there some way to steer a process in a certain direction when you have little overview of it?
Of course, we had to find some way to do that. And normally we just have an observation in the field, how the things are doing, or we could just get some information and collect it in spreadsheets so basically we use a lot of spreadsheets. We used to use a lot of spreadsheets to grab those informations and provide some measures, but with a lot of work. So it's like, okay, we need to understand what is happening, but to understand what's happening, we need to do a lot of manual work as well. So it's like a lot of manual work to improve other process. And this is normally how we did it.
So I can imagine that the work was actually very reactive compared to what you can do right now when you essentially can read the data close to real time and live, and then actually making decisions that are way more informed than in previous years. That's very interesting because for me and Patrick, we are still early in our careers, and we don't really know how it looked before process mining. So it would be almost compared to people born in the year 2000 and telling them how the world was working without the internet. So you can imagine our interest in this topic. But moving on, so you are doing process mining right now in Hydro. I'm wondering. What was so? If you could just tell us what was your role in the project at the beginning, so that the listeners get the idea of what are you dealing with right now?
Yes. So I'm working in this group or in this department to find new ways to do our activities and improve our activities. And this is why Celonis came to the scene. And I was involved since beginning, not exactly as a project manager, but more or from the business point of view, from the finance perspective. And together with my team, we were responsible to develop, or together with you guys, to develop our analysis and technically quality assure all those connections and figures in Celonis. And afterwards, I'm also responsible to deploy it, or to have people actually using and get the best of the tool. So yeah, basically those two big steps: the implementation, a technical implementation as part of the technical implementation, and also now in the adoption phase.
Okay, that's very interesting. So the processes that you're implementing, you said you came from a finance direction. So this is accounts receivable and accounts payable, or what exactly were the processes that we implemented for you?
Yeah, so we have started with accounts payables as part of this procurement to pay process. But the procurement part we have implemented a little bit later. And then our focus in the beginning was basically in accounts payables. And then we got a lot of input from people that are actually working in those activities. And then I had to connect or to understand how the things are doing to see how the best way to measure and to have it implemented. So so basically, answer directly your question, it's accounts payables. It was our main focus in the implementation.
When you were going into the project, did you have some goals, or at least some ideas? What exactly did you want to achieve this? Because when we are dealing with our customers, the expectations vary for very much. Basically, going from we just want to implement process mining until very specific, let's say, bottleneck or problem that the customer is dealing with. So I wonder, what were your expectations going into the project?
Okay, we have a really big goal related to automation in our accounts payables process. We call it touchless. So the aim is to have as much invoices as possible, having no touch from the moment we get the invoice in our systems or in our environment in Hydro until we pay it. And was our main ambition. This is our main ambition. And this is how we can measure better the efficiency.
Right. So you're essentially measuring the amount of manual activity that goes for every invoice until you finally pay it. And the touchless ones are the ones where you have to do almost nothing. Is that right?
Exactly. And then, okay, we can measure more or less how we were, but we didn't have too much information to see, okay, we are struggling here and there, and those are the main actions that we need to take to improve this rate.
Let me ask you, was this a goal that you had before you even heard about process mining and Celonis, or was this an idea that you had while you were getting familiar with the tool?
No. We already had this goal or this ambition to improve the touchless process. Yes, and then Celonis will help us to understand where we can improve it, how we can improve it, what are the in each part of the process we are struggling more.
Were there any parts of the process where you saw these inefficiencies in your process that kind of surprised you, or were you certain it was in a specific part of the process, and you were certain that this is where the bottleneck was, and this is where you needed to do much work? So, question is, if it confirmed your suspicions, or if you realized it was due to something completely different.
Yeah, of course, we could confirm a lot of things that we already had like a suspicion that that might be the where we were struggling, but we can go deeper, and this is something that we didn't have before. So we can go deeper and see more details regarding this specification. And so before we just knew that, okay, we have problems with automatic pulsing. But where exactly? What kinds of invoices? What kinds of vendors? What kinds of purchase orders we are struggling to post it automatically? And this is we didn't have a clear view before.
Okay, so that's so when you're looking at this tool for the first time, right? So we've done the implementation, or we're in the middle of implementation, and we're starting to show you these KPIs. Were you confident in what you saw in the first time? Did you recognize the processes from the spreadsheets you had earlier in the days, or was it completely new and you needed some time to find yourself in your own processes?
No. Even with some manual assessments that we had before, we had something. So it was not like a big surprise what we could see, but it brings more clear and more trustable measures. That's for sure. So we had previously some assumptions and some measures, but with Celonis we can make sure that, okay, this is really the right picture now, and here is actually where we need to attack. No, so it came to confirm some things that we already knew, but also bring us something else on top of it. So more details, and this is the biggest gain regarding this specific goal.
So once you have, so you see this tool for the first time and you recognize your own processes, how do you go about verifying that what the tool, this process mining tool, is showing you is actually correct? So the data validation phase, as we say, how did you proceed with verifying the data that was shown to you?
Yeah, this is actually what took more time during the implementation to validate, because we have like a standard operations in our systems, but every company has a lot of customization and different ways and different settings in their SAPs or any ERPs, right? So we had to adjust or to understand how to get those data out of the systems and how to put it together, how to combine correctly to get the correct measure. So yes, we had a lot of work on it together with Jakub and his team to finally say, okay, now we are really good. Now we have the perfect matching and the perfect measures for what we are interested to see. But it was not like, okay, the first time it was something else. So we had to do a lot of adjustments for sure.
Yeah, this is something we are usually mentioning in the podcast as well, that for us, as for data scientists, this is a difficult part because a lot of customers simply are coming into the project and having very high expectations, and they just think or are led to believe that you can just go on, unpack the queries, unpack the Celonis environment, and suddenly seeing the data, and this is the process that you want. And unfortunately, that's not the case. And as you said, Hélder, yourself, each company has certain customization. And if I remember correctly, with Hydro, that was especially the case for the invoice scanning systems, which were very interesting for implementation. And also, each system was a little different, so it was definitely a challenge for us as the engineers. However, we got to the point where the validation was done, and even though in each project like this improvement phase or validation phase, it never really ends because there's always something you can change or enhance or improve. But my question is then, when you are past this phase, when you start believing the data, you start understanding what you see, and you actually can even go the next step and explaining other people. So you have functional reports, you have your process in finance, and then how do you go on using the tool after that? So that's usually the part where the implementation team kinds of get off the project, and then it's really in your hands as the user, as the super user. So how do you use the tool?
Yeah, you touch exactly the point where we are now, and where we are putting more effort. That is to get people out of our main environment, like the project team, to use it by themselves and find the possibilities and improvements by themselves. So in the first beginning, we thought that, okay, let's deploy the tool. Let's give some people access to the tool. Let's give them training how to use it and let it go. And then we saw that, okay, it's not working. People are not using it that much.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have decided to change a little bit the approach and have separate it in clusters and take some country or some region and put some more effort in this adoption phase for each one. Then we selected more carefully some key users or people that have enough skills and competence to use the tool and to get the correct analysis on it. And then we saw that it's working.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that, okay, we are using it quite well in those clusters, in those countries that we have decided to go and have a more close approach with them. And then this is what we are planning. We plan to have the same kinds of approach for other countries or other regions. Then we see that people start to be more connected with the possibilities and with the tool.
So the user adoption, like it sounds, is already going well. Are there parts of the adoption that are a little bit hindered? Or what are the main obstacles in the way of getting mass adoption for Hydro in the parts where it's relevant?
Yeah, we have full support from the management. That's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we have established goals, not only the touchless, as I said, but we have several other KPIs that we can use the tool to improve it. And what we are doing a lot of analysis ourselves and send it to them and showing this is what you can get from the tool. Mm-hmm. This is what you can see and how you can improve. And then with those one-to-one sessions or with sessions with some specific departments, then they get just thrilled about the tool and about the possibilities, what they can do that. Because then the training or some more generic workshops, okay, they see some possibilities, but it was not their figures. It was not their department or their unit. So when you go together with them, showing exactly what is interested for them, then they get more interested and start to use it more. So this is the reason that we decide to go this way.
Right. So having users look at their own data is a big improvement, or is increasing the adoption because people recognize their own processes, recognize their own data, recognize their own silo, and increases user adoption.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. You were actually speaking of goals, and that is very interesting for me. So, you said that you create some goals in the process that you want to achieve, and how do you actually then go technically about reporting them or sharing them with someone? So you do your analysis in Celonis, and you then export some numbers, share it with your team, or how do you really do that? That's very interesting for me.
Yeah. We are not using Celonis as a main tool to measure the KPIs, but mostly to do the analysis. Even though we have created all of those KPIs there, but this is in our roadmap to use more as like to find the KPIs there as well. Currently, we use the tool to measure, but we are not reporting based on Celonis directly. But we use Celonis to confirm and to get some outputs as well. And then we use more to understand the KPI afterwards. Why we have this measure or this KPI is going down, or why it's going up. And yes, and one of the important things to compare the entities or the plants. So this is how we are mostly using it now.
Have you already noticed, so since you are reporting and sharing the numbers with people, do you think there was also some pushback, maybe in a sense that you probably found some Achilles heel, something that's probably not working very well, and people then complaining that maybe you shouldn't dig in that a lot, because that's also interesting.
Yes, when it's always tricky when we point to someone and say, okay, you are not doing it very well. But it's like some culture also, right? So
Yeah,
it depends where people are sitting. You have different approach or different cultures. So to be honest, we didn't have so far those kind of challenges that people are not comfortable to receive some message or to say, okay, I'm not doing it very well. So I would say they receive the message and use it as positive feedback to improve.
And speaking of the improvement, did you already manage to reach any quantifiable improvement, or do you think that it's helping you to get to the point where you can say, okay, so because of the measurement of the process and doing the process mining, we are actually ensuring that we are reaching our milestones and our goals?
Yeah, to be honest, Jakob, I think it's a little bit earlier yet to say it. Of course, we have high expectation on it. We have, yes, seen some improvements, but I would not say that is because we have started to measure it better or to go deep in the analysis. it's helping for sure, but it's not the only reason, I have to say so far. But yes, we can track the improvements. And this is, again, one really important thing, because we have the history. We can see the line going up. And this is really good to show, and really good to use to see those kinds of improvements. We didn't have the possibility also to show, okay, how now we are improving, how good we are doing it.
So you have these KPIs, and now you're finally tracking them over time, and that's giving you a better understanding of the process improvements that you did, if they're having the desired effect.
Yes, exactly. But as I said, we are in adoption phase now, so we are really confident that in a few months later, my answer for that specific question will be totally different.
Let's hope so.
we have a really, really high expectation on it.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. You said that you don't use Celonis for the main reporting tool. So I'm assuming there are some other BI tools in the mix here. And how does that differ from Celonis? What do you do in the BI tool that you can't do in Celonis, and vice versa?
Yeah, we have some internal developments, like some Power BI reports to measure some KPIs. But the difference, or the upgrade that we have with Celonis, is the possibility to see the details behind. So yes, we have some tools, but we are a little bit limited on how deep we can go and see the details behind. So then people can always challenge, okay, how you are calculating it, how you are doing that. So now we can show it. It can be more trustable, So even we have the same calculation, the same KPIs in both tools, in the manual that we are doing, or in Celonis. Then in Celonis you can really go deep and see the details behind. And then people will say, okay, then I see that it's true, and I see exactly where I'm failing, or where I can improve.
Is there any part of your Power BI tools that has a function that is not yet present in the process mining and the Celonis tool, or any type of feature that you think could drastically improve the way you analyze these inefficiencies in Celonis?
Yes, we have actually a good report, Power BI. But as I said, it's limited. So everything that we calculated before, we can calculate now in Celonis as well. And with much less effort, I would say. I mean, we don't have any effort. So the moment you configure, the moment you validate the data, you validate the setup, it's there anytime. So this is a difference, because in the other tool, even though we try to automate it as much as possible, we always need to have some manual adjustments, or yeah, we need to do a lot of things to have the final figure. But in Celonis, the moment you have it, the first setup, it will be there. So just to get new data from the source systems, and that's it.
And you were saying at the beginning that you are, so the goal, or your objective with Celonis was to mainly track the touchless invoices. So you right now are tracking that. Did the Celonis tool itself help? So obviously it probably helped you with that. And are you already thinking of the next steps on how to take it to the next level with specifically this KPI of measurement of the automation? And maybe could you also touch, maybe for an inspiration for other companies or other listeners, especially in finance department, what might be some other interesting KPIs going forward to either implement directly or focus on them in the process?
Yes, I mentioned this touchless KPI because this is like the end of the main KPI. Behind it, we have a lot of steps to achieve this one, right? So you need to have a good process to receive invoices. You need to have a good process to map or to validate the data for the invoices. You need to have a good process to post it automatically, to pay it automatically, to reconcile it automatically from the bank statements. All of those items are some specific KPIs as well. So the touchless is like the end, the top one. So, and this is where we can really use the tool, and we have seen that this region that we have decided to have a more close follow-up for the adoption, and they are finding a lot of interesting things, a lot of potential using the tool. So yeah, we hope that we can have more people using it as soon as possible and get a lot of improvements. So the touchless itself is like, as I said, the final. But to achieve it, we have a lot of things to do before.
So you mentioned this touchless KPI. And when you set out to implement these analyses, was there ever a part that where you changed direction as the project was going on and the analysis started coming out? Was there ever a point where you said, well, we kind of want to do a different KPI because we realize, hey, this is what we can actually measure and this might be more beneficial than what we originally planned?
I didn't see too much yet, to be honest, to change significantly the direction that we decide to go. But we have some things that we can only see with Celonis. And then, yes, as I said, we are in this adoption phase, starting to use it more. And I'm quite sure that we will see a lot of things because normally we analyze or we go deep in those process or activities that are connected with our goals right now. But doing that, we see other things that we can improve as well that might not be directly connected with this main goal. So, for instance, in this region that we decide to start this more close follow-up for the adoption, we have seen a lot of potential in tax departments as well, connected with the accounts payables process where we have the invoices. Then we are working on it there. So we probably need to enhance or to implement new tables or new analysis in Celonis. And those questions are popping up because they are using the tool. So for sure, we'll see much more from now on.
This is usually the classical path for any company doing the process mining journey, that it starts with, let's implement the process. And suddenly when you start seeing all those numbers and all those bottlenecks, then you actually want to go from the process to a smaller parts and really dissect it as much as possible and look at those smaller things. So there's always something more to implement and to enhance. So that's really interesting and really thrilling. What I would also like to ask is, when you started to dig in the data and browsing the explorer of the process, was this something that surprised you, and in a good way and also in a bad way? So maybe something that you could say, I was working on this project a couple of years ago, and then you see the data and you actually see that it might actually help you. So I'm wondering whether there was some moment like this.
Yeah, one good thing is that you can grab data from all systems together in the same place. This is something that we didn't have before. And as you said before, we Hydro has a history growing, acquiring different companies, and because of that, today we have many different systems. And to put all those data together, it was always a challenge for us. And this is something that was really, really interesting to see in Celonis, since we have decided to go with our big four systems from the beginning. And we couldn't see it before. So now we can see it together and start to compare. And it was really, really good and interesting to see, for instance, that some processes have a totally different behavior in different countries or in different locations. So it was really, really interesting to see.
So was that something that you think you could improve in future, make a more consolidated effort to make sure the processes run the same? Or is that more of a thing where because there's separate countries, there's different rules, there's different compliance rules and things like that that are present in those countries, that you say, well, the way that the process works in each country is actually legitimate?
Yes, of course, we have some not limitations, but we have some specific requirements in some specific countries that will never be possible to have 100% harmonized process. But we have a lot of opportunities. We can see a lot of things that can be done exactly in the same way. Never country it is, but it's not today. So, and with the with the tool, we can compare it easily. We can see the process together. And before, it was almost impossible to grab all of those informations and how the things are doing in different countries, especially in different systems.
Okay. So, Hélder, what are the next steps for you and your team? Let's say that some close to intermediate future, and then some higher or like goals in the next couple of years with this process mining. Is there some final location where you want to get, you and your team?
That's interesting because the moment that you start to use it more, you find more and more possibilities. So every day that you go there and just start to do some analysis, you'll find new possibilities. But thinking more in the future, of course, we have just started the journey with Celonis, with accounts payables process and procurement. We are now also implementing order to cash, and we have much more to do in the future when I think about Hydro. So, the main goal is to have the process mining in the most of process that we have in the company, most relevant process at least, like fixed assets or maintenance process. So this is on the roadmap, but we have already started with order to cash, for instance. It's a project ongoing.
That's great. So the journey itself is very much a journey in that sense, where that you don't quite know all the things that you can really do and all the little KPIs you can measure and all the inefficiencies that you find along the way. It's still quite not as sure as to what you want to do next.
Yes, I would say that the moment that you start to use it more and more, you get more possibilities as well. Of course, we have some goals and some more short-term achievements, and then it will be really helpful to use Celonis to achieve it.
Hélder, I have last question before we wrap up the episode, and that is, So you have this over a year-long experience with the project implementation, data validation, and now actually rolling out the solution in your company. So I think you are by any means an expert right here. And I just wanted to ask you if you could give maybe some advice, something that you have a lesson learned from the project for the others, for the listeners who might be either at the same position as you are, so they already have the process, they started with the data, or maybe they are already at the beginning, so maybe they are just starting with process mining. Is there some lesson learned in what you could share with others that might ease their way into process mining and help them to be successful?
Yes, I would say that don't think that it's plug and play
Thank you.
process and okay, just get data and you have everything you need. No, it's not like this. And everyone will have a lot of work to validate and to get correctly the views and the analysis. But it's one-time work. That's I have to say. So this is the key for the future, because when you deploy, when you are done and you deliver the tool for the company, and people start to see wrong figures there, then they will not trust it. So the message is spend the most time and do it as better as possible. The validation process and defining good analysis there, then it will be much easier to sell it or to have people use it more. So you will not get challenges regarding the quality of the measures. You might have challenges that people might not be happy to see what exactly they are doing, but at least this is this is the correct picture. So yes, so definitely it was a lesson learned, because in the really beginning we thought that it would be much more easier to just grab the data from SAP and have the analysis done, and it's not. So a lot of validation, a lot of coding behind. Actually, is not that much coding because we have a good support on it. But yes, it's a lot of work to validate. So, and it's an important part of the implementation. So have it done properly, you would have much more success in the end.
Yeah, I completely resonate with this idea, and it pains me sometimes that it has to take so long, because the users, especially after you do the demo, they are very eager and excited about the tool, and they just want to start working on it. But I think that this is important point you mentioned, that rushing into it, not being ready, can eventually hurt your chances for a successful adoption in your company. So I will definitely sign this if this was written down.
Yes.
Yeah, but anyway, Hélder, unfortunately, we are coming to an end of our episode, and I just wanted to thank you once again for really talking here to us, because you are, after all, the first user and someone who the tool was developed to consume, who was the tool made for. And we were very excited to have you on the show. So, Hélder, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you. Thank you.
And for you listeners, our dearest listeners, we are happy to have you. We will be looking forward to hear from you, or if you have any questions, any ideas, or maybe even guests who would you like to hear on our show, just write us an email on miningyourbusinesspodcast@gmail.com. And we will be looking forward to talk to you again in 2 weeks with yet another episode of Mining Your Business Podcast. So Patrick, Hélder, thank you very much for today, and bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you, Hélder.